Now we have audio. Okay. Why am I dropping frames? 1 second, guys. The stream's dropping frames. I'm trying to see why. Indeed, audio is here. Sorry, I made the mistake of having my Epson printer. Yes, I have a printer. Update its firmware, which apparently made the third-party cartridges not work. I don't know. And anyway, so I had to wipe and downgrade the firmware because it's not usually something you can do. And to do that, I needed a USB connection to the printer, so I removed the Rodecaster soundboard from my computer to do that, and so that's why there was no audio here a minute ago. Hey, Sarah Mark, good to see you. Morning from the UK. Hope you're well. Yeah, Jonathan, the lovely closed ecosystems of we make our money by gouging you on ink. Gotta love it. I would simply rather you charge me $50 more for the printer and not be assholes on the ink cartridge. That's how I feel. It doesn't need to be like a, you know, it's kind of the same operating model as like a game console, right? They sell the PS5 for a very minimal profit. And then historically, sometimes they even sold systems at a loss, because every single game that you sold on the console, usually like $5 or $10 would go to Sony, go to Nintendo or whoever. That was like a requirement to be licensed on the platform, was that you had, you know, you had to pay a share of every game sale to the manufacturer of the console. And that's how they made money off of the, you know, off their console setup. It wasn't the actual hardware. It was the software. And I want to say like Nintendo had some, back in the NES days, Nintendo had like, there were a series of publishers who released like unauthorized, like didn't have the Nintendo seal of approval, if you're old enough to remember what that was, on their games. So like in those cases, Nintendo didn't get a cut, but they were like generally very low budget, very sort of bootleggy games. I don't print enough to get an ink tank printer, to be honest. Like, yeah, if I printed in any kind of volume, I'd probably get something else, but I usually only print because I'm, you know, I know this can all be done digitally, but I tend to print like tax documents around that time of year. Just like, I like bringing hard copies into my accountant. And there's the occasional, like my daughter likes to do coloring. So like, I'm a cheap ass. It's like way cheaper to print out something for like a coloring book than it is to like, I mean, we buy coloring books, but she's just going to go through like 20 pages or whatever. Easier to just print out like something she can color on rather than like go through a coloring book a day or whatever. Good morning, BMW. I hope Jordan is not too hot. I don't know. I hope everything's well. We'll start here in a minute. Return to dot matrix printers. I was listening to a podcast of someone who was, apparently there are these, I don't know, I forget what they're called, but I think they're the type of printer that like certain animated books used to be printed in, and it was like a layered print. So it would print a sheet like 8 times and it would like layer in different colors. I guess it's like there's like a Reddit community around this stuff, but they're like very sort of a very particular type of printing. And I don't remember the name of it, but they were talking about it on a podcast I listened to. Pretty cold, huh? Well, I don't know what to say to that. Put on something warmer. All right, let's get started. Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're going to be taking a look at Force Admiral, the real-time naval combat, or really carrier combat game from the folks at Dry Dock Dream Games and published by Microprose. This game just released into early access a couple of days ago. It comes with 4 built-in scenarios, 2 Coral Seas, 1 historical and 1 alternate, and 2 Midway scenarios, 1 historical and 1 ultimate. They do intend to build up to a roster of 30 plus scenarios, looking at the carrier actions from the American point of view from 1942 to early 43, I believe it is. I can take a look at the scenario list here. It goes through Watchtower. So you've got like the early battles from like Wake to the Doolittle raid. It has Coral Sea with a bunch of scenarios. Midway has multiple scenarios, although most of those are hypothetical. More of the Coral Sea scenarios are real. And then Watchtower, which obviously is the Guadalcanal campaign. So I think it goes to like the Battle of Santa Cruz. So really the early, I guess late 42, early war scenarios, all from the American point of view. But right now what's available with early access is the 2 scenarios we've played on the channel for Cranes and Patriots, the historical and hypothetical. And then Busy Morning at Point Luck, and then a hard variant of Busy Morning at Point Luck. We've played Busy Morning at Point Luck, and we did pretty well. We did much better than the Americans did historically from a losses point of view, although we did only sink outright 2 of the Japanese carriers, badly damaged 2 others. I think they probably would have been scuttled by their own ships, but the game didn't give me that credit. But we're going to be playing a different one here today, which is Busy Morning at Point Luck Hard. Why is it hard? Well, because a lot of the fuck-ups that set up the actual campaign's success at Midway are removed. So what if everything had went fine for the Japanese side in the early morning? In this scenario, Scout Chikuma 1 follows her route, and Amari's Tone 4 is launched on time in a clean, efficient search pattern. Will the American task force be able to escape the onslaught? So presumably this is more like Coral Sea, where both sides are going to detect each other roughly at the same time, and the Japanese will launch a large-scale raid against the American carriers. That is my assumption, but we shall see what actually happens. I also think with one of the recent updates, they added the briefings, so we'll see. Let's go ahead and jump in. I wish I could edit my mixer volume, but I can't because the alt tabbing on this game is weird.
The American carrier force stands on the brink of a day that will
So turn your volume up is what I'm saying.
And shape the Navy's legacy for 100 years. Rear Admirals Fletcher and Spruance are lying in ambush northeast of Midway Island on an intercept course with Japanese carrier strike force led by Admiral Nagumo. Yesterday, the enemy invasion force heading for Midway was sighted for the first time, confirming that a massive operation is underway against American forward bases, here and farther north in the Aleutians. According to our estimates and the enemy's operational playbook so far, Japanese carriers are expected to strike Midway's defenses at dawn. Ideally, USS Yorktown with Task Force 17 and USS Enterprise and Hornet with Task Force 16 will unleash hell on the unsuspecting raiding force, if everything goes well. Although American carriers have already engaged Japanese forces, some of our crews remain unseasoned. Hornet's air group in particular is relatively fresh and inexperienced. The same can be said of Midway's defenses, a ragtag collection of squadron detachments. Roughly 100 Marine, Navy, and Army aircraft are concentrated on the tiny strip of sand that is Eastern Island, racing for the blow to come. They know they are bait, but they will not go down without a fight, though their ability to strike a decisive blow remains uncertain. The Japanese force represents the very best they can muster. While we believe that sustained attrition has weakened the elite corps of pilots first revealed at Pearl Harbor, their losses have likely been largely offset by replacements. We expect between 4 and 6 carriers, depending on what the enemy has been able to assemble after their most recent foray into the South Pacific. They took a bloody nose there, but no one can yet say how much that encounter will affect the unfolding operations around the Hawaiian chain. Admiral Nimitz has provided his flag officers with what he believes to be an ideal ambush position designated Point Luck based on the latest intelligence available. After withdrawing eastward during the night, the 2 carrier task forces are now returning to their assigned coordinates. Let us hope our predictions prove correct, but only the morning searches will tell. Your turn to write history. Good luck.
Shove it up their commie asses, sir.
Okay, they're not commies, but you know, we'll go. All right, so there you go. That was the briefing. Let's go ahead and jump in. I don't really have anything else to say. Pretty cool montages that they do for their scenarios. I do like it. The little documentary style. Spawning units. Okay. So here we are on the command, I don't know, command post, command deck, whatever. We go flag. We can go outside and it'd be all dark because it's 3 o'clock in the morning on July 4th, 1942. We can take a look at our forces here. We've got the Yorktown, its cruisers and destroyers, and then we've got the Enterprise and Hornet, its cruisers and destroyers. We can go to the, I guess the mission center or whatever. You can see here our planes. A bunch of them are already on the deck. What are these? F4Fs that just got their wings folded, I guess, because they look like frickin' birds. We have a full complement of aircraft for all 3 carrier groups. So that does bring us to a total fleet strength of... Why do I not see it here? Total fleet, well, I guess Task Force 17 and 16 are separate, so I can't quite see that. Yorktown has 71 planes, 25 fighters, 34 dive bombers, and 12 torpedo bombers. The Task Force 16 group, which includes the Enterprise and Hornet, has 145 aircraft, 52 fighters, 67 dive bombers, and 26 torpedo bombers. Not going to change the plot and where these aircraft are, or sorry, where these ships are in terms of the screening. If we go to the actual plot chart here, you can see by 10 o'clock, we were supposed to be at Point Luck. Now, that's not great because as from our previous playthrough, when we played as the Americans, the torpedo bombers were not really able to get into range. And actually, historically or not, the key thing that allowed me to sink 2 Japanese carriers, I believe, were successful torpedo attacks. We crippled them and shut their airfield, their flight decks down with dive bombers. We didn't put them into the grave without the torpedo bombers. So I do want to try and get my boys here a little bit closer. Point Luck apparently is back this way, but we're working toward the June 4th rendezvous. So what we can do here is we've got this waypoint. We're going to change it. We're only moving at 15 knots. I don't know if that's like a nighttime safety thing or what, but let's go ahead and set a waypoint here on this X. I can change the speed, right? Here we go. From 15 to 30. 31 is the max speed. That'll get us there by 5:30, which is before, well, operations might actually start at 4, but it's early because the sun does start to come up shortly. And then we will set the other guys here to get there as well ASAP. The Task Force 16, which has the 2 carriers, is slightly behind, which actually I think is a good thing because if the Japanese fly scouts out this way, they're going to see Yorktown in the van, and they may hit Yorktown with all of their effort, leaving Enterprise and Hornet unscathed. I don't know if that is a plan, but it certainly is something that works to our advantage. We're going to go ahead and set up an air search. We know that the aircraft on Midway are going to fly out as well, but we are going to send our own air search. We're not just going to depend on the island. And rather than using up my SBDs, which would limit my striking power, or my torpedo bombers, which would be slow, we are going to use the seaplanes from Task Force 17, which is the Yorktown's task force. We're going to use all of them in the initial wave. We'll reserve some seaplanes for our from our second task force, but these are the cruiser seaplanes, the SOC ones. We'll go with carrier task force, and we will ask them to shadow the priority targets. We'll expand the radius a little bit, so we've got a better coverage on the suspected, like that's the range. We'll expand the radius a little bit. Hopefully we can still see what we need to see here. I think this radius, like as long as you don't go past the dotted line, everything's in range. But we'll do this. We'll leave the southern edge a little bit uncovered because the Midway planes will get up there faster. And we'll get them to launch here. Do we want to set the patrol altitude? Does it say anything about cloud cover? I mean, I know I can see cloud cover here. And I know Midway has heavy cloud, like the Battle of Midway, visibility was certainly a thing. So I don't want to have the radius be too wide. I'm just curious if we know. Let's actually do this. Let's decrease the width of the screening party, and we will really trust on these Catalinas, which are going to come from the south and hit this corner probably before our planes even get out there. They'll take off at 4:30, so pretty early. The other thing that setting up these seaplanes as my scouts allows me to do is I can be a little, I don't know, I guess this is gamey, but I can go ahead and actually prepare a strike against the enemy. I can green light it. I can spot the deck. They won't have a target, but they'll be ready to go. And I feel like that's gamey, but I also think, to me, hey, if you knew you were going to probably fight the Japanese and you didn't have any aircraft up that you had to worry about, you know, recovering, then why would you not spot your flight deck? I suppose the risk is what if the enemy planes hit you first, but like, you got radar. We can, you know, maybe do some stuff. Can I not greenlight this? I can't not pick a target. I thought I was able to not pick a target previously. Oh, I can greenlight here. So we're going to go with early spotting, which prioritizes the spotting of the aircraft. What's this? +10. Oh, I didn't know you could customize when you want the aircraft to take off. Huh. Well, I'm definitely not taking off at 4:40. I think the earliest desired takeoff is probably like 5:30. What does it tell me when the sun comes up? I think it's based on, so this would be like an hour after the SOCs would get off. Does it change when the spotting starts? Arming starts at 5:07, which is actually part of the spotting, which I didn't realize. Spotting starts at 5:07. So assuming they do their due diligence, then they'll all be off before 6. That'll also give me more time to get my ships west and hopefully in range of my torpedo bombers. Suppose the risk here is that the game ends up not letting me take off because I don't have because I don't have the torpedo bombers in range. Like, that's probably the risk. I'm gonna send 10 fighters with each force, so 20 fighter escorts. I hope that's enough. Deferred departure. Again, what that does is the strike elements will wait for each other before heading to the target area. So that way you actually go in coordinated. And then we will do another strike. This one from the Hornet. I'm not going to send any fighters from, well, we'll send 2. I'm going to leave the bulk of the fighters back on the Hornet. The reason I'm going to do that is because I want to make sure that I've got as many interceptors as I can. I don't want the planes to get butchered as they go in. But we're already going to be sending 20 fighters out to break up the enemy cap. We're not going to beat them in a dogfight. actually need to edit one of these guys. Was it Enterprise's mission that I kind of... Yeah, I need to tell them to... Can I not edit the flight time? All right, I guess I'll cancel that strike just because it doesn't really matter. Nobody's moving yet. They're not spotting before the sun comes up. I really have to hope too that the enemy is in range of my torpedo bombers, because as I've seen, the game will not let me launch my torpedo bombers if they're out of range. So we may set ourselves up to have a deck crowded full of aircraft when the enemy shows up. We'll see. I guess worst case, I can always launch the aircraft at like a empty spot in the sea. All right, so let's get moving. I can't really do anything yet in the night. You can see there is some indications that the sun is going to be coming up here soon, but nothing I can really see or do or look at. Midway is down here, so the facilities, like if we were to... Is this the airfield, I think? We can see it. I can't do anything with Midway. The planes all here are AI controlled. You can see B-17s lined up here. We've got, I think these are Buffaloes in the poor light down this way. I mean, the airfield is crammed with aircraft. These are B-26s, my favorite underappreciated aircraft of World War II. I wonder if they'll still launch their Midway strike. That's the other question I have, is are they going to launch a dawn strike if they, like, are they going to detect me before the sun comes up, or are they going to launch their dawn strike while their patrol aircraft are out and maybe they'll only come in with like half a punch? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. In any event, let's go ahead and speed things up. Yeah, the AI controls the land-based and the PBYs. I believe spotting is the correct term. By the way, this like being in 2 task force setup might work to our advantage initially, but once we damage the Japanese, like we also saw that the other day when we were playing, is that when the Japanese fleet kind of starts to take damage, it scatters to a great degree. So you can launch strikes and have them like think, oh, this is where I want to go because I saw a battleship here, but actually the carriers are further, and you end up wasting your, you know, shooting your bolt or whatever. All right, so we're getting close to spotting. That starts at, I don't know if it really starts at 4:30, but, or maybe it does. I don't know. When are the, can I see the seaplanes on here? No. I don't remember what time the seaplanes are going to start launching. It would be cool to look at. We had seaplanes in Task Force 16 also. I just didn't. It's still dark. Where's the sun? God damn it. So you can see the seaplanes on the side of this cruiser. They will swing out and launch off their catapults as soon as they're able. Doom, 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 doom. Sand Island are airborne, and search planes are airborne. Okay. We'll take a look at the cats in a few minutes. These catapult driven seagulls should be good to go soon. I've got a book with a seagull on the front of it. It's something that my, I think, great grandfather picked up when he went to the Naval Aviation Museum. He was a World War I and II veteran. My grandfather's brother was a Korea veteran, and then my grandfather was a World War II veteran. They were all Seabees. Well, no, not all of them. My grandfather was a doctor, but ran a construction company, so they all knew how to build things. I saw that. Yep, seaplanes are airborne. Yep. I don't know that a B-26 almost rammed Nagumo. I'm not aware of that. Sun is starting to come up. I assume when the spotting starts, that's when these seaplanes will also start to take off. Are they really not going to launch these guys? I did order them to, right? An engine's running. You can see the catapult. I don't really have a good visual to, if I go the other direction, you won't see anything because of the lighting. But you can see the catapult is swinging out away from the ship. And the aircraft will launch here in just a moment. There it goes. Personally, I think the seaplane launching is pretty freaking cool. Wait, did that plane come back already? That seems like a glitch. Very confusing. What? They both launched? One of them launched twice. How does that work? All right. So here go our seaplanes taking off into the wild blue yonder, flying high into the skies. Sorry, Navy. I know that's not your song. All right. That's a pretty good vertical for a plane, probably without too much power. All right. Let's take a look at the cats. Base, search. 6 PBY Catalinas are out. Osborne en route. Much better visibility of the sun up above the clouds here. Flying this way. Different camera angle options. This one's like, hey, what if you were in the aircraft? Hey, Osborne, how you doing? All the way from kids. You know, you don't have a nose. You kind of look like a horror villain. You know? No, don't have anything to say. All right, I'm just gonna stick to flying here. Creepy motherfucker. It's like a... All right, so this is like the... Would this be the one of the waste gunners or waste pods or whatever? Or a little bulbous-like insect view out there. There's the ocean down there. Tail gunner view? Kind of. All right. Well, anyway, aircraft are out. You can see here the patrol paths these aircraft are on. They're already a good deal into their routes. My naval search is just getting started. My boys are just getting off the... These guys aren't from the Yorktown. They're from the cruisers, but just to be clear. It's interesting that the search parties have to go before the nav strike. That feels like maybe something that should be worked on Are they spotting yet? I'm guessing not if it says queued. Yeah, Yorktown is not spotting yet. Okay. Flying speed. Here's a question. Do cruisers have to turn into the wind to launch those planes, or because they have a catapult, they can generate enough lift without it? No, they don't. Okay. Catapult. Cool. Plus they're biplanes. It's not like you're talking about like a, you know, multi-ton aircraft with 10 tons of munitions or something. Because carriers still turn into the wind today, I believe, even though they have catapults. Maybe they don't have to if they're on like a light load. I don't know. All right. I guess we'll just kind of speed up a little bit until something happens, right? Or until the sun comes up a bit more and we can see something. Let's stick to the seaplanes from Midway, because they're the ones who are flying through the course here. Now, I don't think they will start launching. I guess this is a test. I haven't actually tried that yet, but I don't think our planes will start launching on the enemy until we've actually given them a target. I don't think they'll just fly around and then land. I could be wrong there, because it does say... I don't know. I guess we'll see. I've got 3 nav strikes planning, although somehow one of these still just says in queue. Are they really not spotting? Or do I have to give them an order to spot? No, it says there's... Well, it's not... What's Yorktown doing? Prepping. Well, what's their order? Oh, spotting doesn't start till 5. I set these guys to way later. Okay, well that probably doesn't matter. Unless we spot these guys real soon, which case it might. Thank you for the subscription, Panther. No, I didn't mute myself. The gameplay audio is silent, but you should still hear me. Oh, you muted me. Okay. I did give him deferred departures. All right. Waiting on reports. The enemy should be spotted soon, I would hope. If not, I've got my seaplanes on the way. Dun, 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 dun. Enemy something spotted. It says unknown TF. One small task, one small whatever. Which seaplane is this? Is it Collier? No. Osborne? No. Cohen, maybe? Yeah, Cohen. All right, sir. The sun is up, by the way. What do you got, boys? Okay, you got lips now, but you're still a creep. Sir? What do you got? I don't see shit. Someone's got eagle eyes. Or they can see through cloud cover, because I can't see anything. You know what'd be interesting is if you could have like false reports. I guess the plane probably wouldn't radio it in because in theory the captain would be like, hey, or whoever, the pilot would be like, I want to confirm it, but still don't see anything. Thought maybe I spotted some wake, but then it was just like clouds forming. Someone, I wish I had binos. I assume it's spotted by this guy. Does it say who? Sand Island Seaplane Blaze. Comms intel. Our scouts reporting new. Is this just a comment? SIGINT? Usually you don't get a report of a sighting with just a SIGINT. It says 6 small, 1 medium, 5 large ships. Job would be way cooler if you weren't liable to get shot down by an enemy combat air patrol. Says an enemy surface task force. I'm pretty confident that it's the carriers, but can't launch on suspected surface task force. We gotta confirm this here. Where on the map are these guys again? So it should be out their left window. 1 CV spotted according to the report. I don't see anything. All right, we can be gamey here and just zoom in manually. They apparently have better eyes than us. Hello. Oh, you got the red meatball, don't you know? And they got aircraft on it. Or do they? They might have already launched. They probably have already launched on Midway. Empty carrier deck. I don't think they've spotted us. No report that they have anyway. Got a heavy cruiser out front. Destroyer out this way. Another destroyer. Does my aircraft actually see anything now? No, it's just muddy clouds. Enemy carrier force bearing 330, 225 miles. What do you see? All right, I'm just gonna assume you got binoculars. All right, anyway, the report is good enough for me. We've got an enemy task force, 20 ships, 3 CVs spotted now. 2 battleships, 1 heavy cruiser, 1 light cruiser, 7 destroyers, and 4 smaller ships. Spotted 5, 10, 100 hours. I don't think... All right, so the Navy on Midway is now spotting B-17s. Well, I can't click on any of them yet, but they are starting to spot bombers on Midway. We can take a look here. Here's the island. Look at all those revetments. So I suppose they're starting to arm these guys. Here's the dive bombers. Most of them are of an older variant. Vindicators, I think. They do have some SBDs as well. Not that any of them can hit the broadside of a barn. Here's our B-26s. They're not armed yet. No torpedoes on the bottom there yet. Unless they're going to go with bombs, but I think they'll go with torpedoes. Buffaloes, the most useless fighter of the Americans in World War II. Maybe not. There's some other ones. And then our fortresses down here. Also, in one of my other videos, I was wondering about the ball turret, because it's definitely not the glass Sperry. I guess there was a remote controlled turret from in here for some of the early E variants, which then they replaced with the manned ball turret, because like apparently the remote turret was not, I think it was like horribly disorienting for crews to try and manage. Are these the Wildcats? I know we've got a few Wildcats. Yeah. So plenty of aircraft all crammed onto this island. There's seaplanes over here somewhere too. Some of them are out, obviously, right? We launched like 6 of them, but we've got more Catalinas just chilling in the water. All right, so let's take a look at our fleet now that we've spotted the enemy. We're still in the process of spotting Yorktown. Enterprise is ready to go. Her carrier aircraft are all ready. Crews have manned the aircraft. They're just waiting for the go order. And Hornet is also maybe a go. I think these 2 lead are on catapults, because I think they did have a few catapults. And the rest are for the run up. So they're ready to go. Fully spotted decks. Wings extended, not quite, but well, they are. Well, some of them are folded. Interesting. So the ones further forward where they got more space, their wings are out. The ones to the rear where they have less space, their wings are folded. I don't know if that was doctrine, but that's pretty cool. All right, so what do we do with the airstrikes now? If we go to missions, we go to Enterprise, they are spotted. Now what happens if we say we want to launch on these guys? Are we even in range? We are not. Great. And I can't order the takeoff because of my torpedo bombers. I basically need to wait another hour to get in range, which could be a problem. Maybe I just have to do a half an hour. Maybe I just have to get close enough so that the landing starts. We're already going ahead flank. I would assume Yorktown in theory will be ready as soon as they're done spotting, because she's closer. Yep. So they're spotting on Yorktown for another 20 minutes, and their torpedo bombers will be in range. Did that get taken? It did take effect. Okay. I don't know if they will automatically start flying though. I guess we'll find out. That may mean Yorktown goes in by itself at first, but I don't think the enemy spotted us yet. I assume their scout planes are going to follow similar to our socks, and our socks are not there yet. So I would think we still have a little bit of time before the enemy spots us. I also assume that Midway is underway, so they're going to be down at least a considerable portion of their air wing. The 4 has the folding wing? Okay. Yorktown is still spotting for a little bit here, so we're accelerating time. I'm curious if you have to wait until you are in range so that your planes all can land, or is it good enough to be in range so that landing starts before they run out of fuel? Because in theory, you could prioritize the TBDs to land first. Also, I'm going to keep going this direction in flank speeds, so... Strike package from Eastern Island is underway. Take a look at that. Wrong group. We got our lovely flying fortresses out this way, climbing to altitude. That is a pretty good sized flight. Look at all these aircraft just dotting the sky. I think there's 18 of them. They ain't gonna do shit from high level, but B-26s have also taken off with a single torpedo slung underneath them. There's 4 B-26s in 2 flights, one of 1, one of 3. I can order all fighters on deck once my aircraft are off. Meanwhile, we've got the Avengers here. There's a handful of decent TBDs. The Avengers, I think we've got 4 of them as well. No, we've got 6 of them. So these guys are brand new, just deployed. We've got 3 all lined up, ready to go. Give you guys all motion sickness. Let's go. Taking off as a V. Someone's taxiing across the end of the runway as we're... What are you guys doing? Do we need that much space? We're carrying a pretty heavy torpedo. Those are the dive bombers. I don't think the game models collisions, but this is some bad air traffic controlling right here. Or ground controlling as we fly. We take off with them just barely off the runway. Here we go, Avengers. Avengers, assemble! Thankfully, George Bush is not on these. Otherwise, the U.S. would lose a president. Probably. None of this is scripted, by the way, so it is possible for, you know, these guys to score a hit and not all get shot down. I didn't take any pictures yet today, so I had to make sure we did. These guys are going to take off next with the SBDs coming there. Oh, Task Force 17 has been detected by an enemy air search asset at 5:35 just now, according to SIGINT. So the enemy is now aware of us. We do not have current intel on where these guys are. 22 minutes ago, they were heading south. I don't think I can launch my airstrikes yet. So in 7 minutes, the tale will be told if we can launch. General quarters, all hands man your battle stations, enemy aircraft inbound, Midway. Aircraft spotted on radar. We've got 20 plus, 20 plus, 20 plus, 20 plus, at least 80 enemy aircraft on the way toward Midway. Look at that flight. Look at all these aircraft coming in here. That is a heck of a flight coming in. Many planes heading Midway. These guys are torpedo bombers, but they're slung with bombs. Although it is kind of funny that I can still see the torpedo rack. These three things. That bomb does not look securely held. I'm nitpicking. I assume Midway will scramble now. They're not very far away. They got in pretty close. What are they? 83 nautical miles out of Midway. I don't know what the actual... Here's the 17s, the B-26s, and we've got the Avengers taking off here. I assume we will scramble something. General quarters sounded on Eastern Island. Bang, bang, bang. Scramble 27. Aircraft on deck. We're still not really on deck. And the dive bombers, are they on the runway? So anyway, these guys are all airborne. It's going to take the enemy a little while now that they've spotted me to spot their own aircraft. We saw their decks were empty, so they'll get something off against me probably, but I do want to hold off on sending Yorktown until we know at least if this all right, updated spotting. I assume this is, this is the recon flights from Midway probably returning or spotting the enemy on their way back. Ditched. Oh no. Cone was shot down. So the first seaplane that we were following was shot down. So this must be spotted from these guys. Here as they fly back. Somehow, through whatever cloud cover they're in. You think Yorktown will be a fish sanctuary soon? Let's take a look at these guys. I'm assuming maybe they're spotting. They are spotting a strike. They've got 5 aircraft ready. Definitely spotting a strike. They've got torpedo bombers on the aft here. Are they armed? They got bombs. Are they torpedo bombers? Those might actually be Vals. Yeah, those are Vals. Never mind. But they've got bombs. So you can see they're spotting their aircraft. These guys are much closer to being done. This aircraft carrier is much closer. All right. Let's get back to our fleet. Yorktown's ready. Enterprise appears to be ready. Hornet appears to be ready. So everybody's ready. Give you all motion sickness as we spin around the map. Where are we at in terms of this strike? .280. What is the range? Out of fuel. So let's wait 3 more minutes, I guess. Or can I check one of the other strikes to see? I don't really want to. I mean, minutes are worth hours. I need 11 more minutes on her. Jesus Christ. All right, let's see what we've got here. I want to send a coordinated strike, which is why I'm delaying, because the rearmost, like sending one carrier feels like a recipe to get butchered. But the enemy's definitely going to get aircraft off before we arrive at this point. So we'll get to...
Romeo, your target is now Sector 330.
Did they spot it? The air group spot? No. Oh, those might actually be the scrambles. All right, let me... All right, landing zone's 556. We're not quite there yet. I still can't order the takeoff. I need 11 more minutes on this one. God damn it. I either need to get these guys below decks and get a scramble going soon. All right, I need 9 more minutes. Do I have 9 more minutes? I mean, the enemy's not even airborne yet. Or they weren't. They're not airborne yet. They're getting close. Oh, they're turning into the wind. Literally right as I say that, they start turning into the wind. They are spotted and ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So if we assume 20 times 4, we should assume 80 aircraft coming in. I'll have 50 fighters to intercept them. They are not sending very many fighters. I only see 2 on this aircraft. That may be an opportunity. We've got 3, 4 on this one. Three on this one. Okay. Target in sight. Are the 17s bombing? Or are these the fighters? The fighters are scrambling. God, they're already ditching and evading. Well, this fight's been going on a little while. These guys are not doing so hot. Run away! Zero right behind you. Well, they just flew through the formation of enemy aircraft. I'm cheating. I can't be pre-warned on enemy numbers. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. I think that's one of ours going down over here. God damn it. Yeah, this one's mine. You ain't ditching, you're crashing, but you know, whatever you want to call it. Get him. Get him. I see an enemy zero in my sights. Come on, be better. Oh. Ooh. Did you not shoot him down? I'm so disoriented. The enemy was definitely damaged. I don't know if he got shot down. So it definitely... Oh, someone shot someone down smoking. It definitely would seem like maybe some of the enemy aircraft are damaged anyway. That's, I think, one of our own. That ain't good. We're getting chewed apart. We're getting chewed apart. You're right behind him, dude. Shoot him. Why are you shooting at him? He's right in front of you. What are you doing? Why did you do that? Now the enemy's behind you. Dumb. I'm assuming you're trying to climb to re-engage the enemy, as far as I can tell. Midway's up here, so they're getting close. Okay. Let's cheat, boys. Still haven't started to take off. They're still turning or getting ready or doing whatever they're doing. Oh, they're starting to take off. There's one going. Okay, so can we launch yet? Probably not. What do we have to get to again? It'll take 13 minutes to take off. I need 7 more. It'll probably take the enemy at least that long to take off, right? If not, I'm going to start launching Yorktown at 6:10 or 11, no matter what. I could launch Yorktown. I can't launch the other ones. It didn't let me anyway before. Oh, I can now. Why? What changed? All right, go boys. Okay. To try and coordinate a little bit better, I'm going to wait 4 minutes. Because these guys are all going to launch and then they're going to go together. So to try and get one massed wave, I would like to try and coordinate. These guys are going to take a little bit of time. I'd like to try and tell Yorktown to have its planes start to get airborne as these guys are getting airborne. Like, so a little bit after. If that makes sense. Here we go into the wild blue yonder. I can't really... Not what I wanted. I need to click on that. I meant to click on the ship. From the view from the bridge, we've got a carrier up here. We've got buzzing buzzards flying all over. Our own aircraft going off the front. As these aircraft begin to form up for a major strike. Over 100 aircraft will be in this airstrike once all 3 carriers' air wings are up. There they go. Wildcats on the escort. I'm probably sending too many planes out to escort. Really, they just need to occupy whatever the enemy cap is long enough to allow the bombers through, not really win. My thought process was I want to try and save as many, like, yes, that'll maybe get them through for the initial strike, but I also am probably going to need follow-up strikes, so I can't afford to lose all my bombers. Of course, if my carriers are destroyed because I don't have sufficient cap, that doesn't do us any good either. Does Yorktown start damaged? I don't think so. There they go. Just every few seconds. Oops. We think the enemy aircraft are all off. I'm getting a weird artifact. Enemy carrier decks are clear. I think they're still forming up. I see a whole bunch of aircraft off this way. Yeah. All right, Yorktown, you got to go, so you've got time to scramble. Yorktown will take 7 minutes. No. 14 minutes for everybody to take off? That seems excessive. I guess you got to turn into the wind still. Good job, boys. Go get them. I'm not worried about the enemy showing up before Yorktown gets its aircraft off. I am worried about the enemy showing up before the Yorktown gets its scramble off. Nothing prettier than the sound of 80 piston engines all crammed onto a carrier deck. Not that I've ever heard it in my life, but I feel like it would be a pretty awe-inspiring noise. Alright, so I assume the scramble's all but dead now off Midway. Ditched, 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 ditched. Not a single fighter aircraft has survived. Is Midway already burning, or can we go watch the enemy air attack? They're already headed back. How much damage do they do? That's more than I saw in the raid when I played the other day. They hit the runway multiple times. No center hits. They probably could still operate off of it. Certainly this runway is unoccupied. Support facilities are burning. Are there any aircraft left on the ground, or did they all get off? Looks like all the aircraft got off. No seaplanes damaged. Okay. What about the nav strikes? You guys are still flying to the target, right? B-17s are trailing, I think. Yeah. Looks like the B-26s are probably out front. Still have torpedoes slung under them. They're not quite there yet. How's Yorktown doing? Still got a deck full of aircraft for sure. Enterprise is getting there. And Hornet is getting there. There's Pratt and Whitney's. I think actually being on the deck might be, or not the deck, the bridge, like the outside part of the bridge might actually be the more impressive because sound rises, right? All right, the carrier force is 132 miles out, so I assume we've got like 45 minutes, maybe 30 minutes before the enemy strikes. So we should be able to at least get 15 minutes into our scramble drill, which I suppose the main negative impact there is we won't be able to intercept them as far away from the carriers as we would like. I think everybody will get up. It's just a question of how long they have to engage. I assume this is the snooper here. Okay. Why are these guys red? Is it because I don't have fuel for my guys to return? Suppose that could be why. Because the other nav strike is black, and the only difference I think between the Yorktown strike and the other ones is... All right, so the first aircraft that are going to hit are going to be the B-26s, which I do want to watch go in. We'll accelerate time a little bit. Wait for him to get in formation. Hello there. By the way, thank you for the follow, Sky Glitcher, and Monolith, thank you for the resub. I don't know if my alerts were off or I just wasn't paying attention. Scolomancer, that was yesterday. But everybody, thank you. Thank you, thank you. All right. B-26s are fast. They will hit their targets first. I probably don't actually... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, I probably don't actually want to start scrambling aircraft until we spot enemy aircraft coming in. But now we've got 20 which are headed toward us. I think 20 unidentified aircraft flying toward us is probably about as good as you need to start justifying scrambling aircraft. So let's take a look here. Hornet, are you done? Yes. Okay, nope. Don't turn back out of the wind. Scramble all fighters. Enterprise. You guys are still launching? Or these... Oh, these are dive bombers, so these guys are still going? Did they launch? Oh, they could only... I'm guessing they could only launch like some of their raid because they didn't have deck space for everything. That actually makes sense. Okay. Hornet's getting her fighters ready. God damn it. I didn't factor that into my calculations. Where are we at? So our fighter scramble is going to be helter skelter. We're still about 100 miles out. Where are the B-26s now? They should be coming down and well, not yet. They're still at altitude. All right, then. I assume they're at least armed from the... oh my God. How many were below decks? Jesus Christ. Or are these just extra aircraft that didn't fly for whatever reason? No, they're going to launch. Okay. I do have a copy of War in Spain. I didn't get one until day of. I just clicked the wrong aircraft. So yeah, I didn't get one till day of, so I have not had enough time to learn it yet. Which, you know, that's a big game, so it takes a little bit of time. So much for Nagumo's dilemma. Well, this is deliberately a scenario that is built around the idea of the Japanese scouting plan going as planned. I'm just going to say if my hangar decks were empty below, I'd be using both the front and the rear elevator to spot fighters in a scramble scenario. You can pass planes through each side. All right, you guys are still launching. This is going to be a clusterfuck. We're going to get hammered. The enemy's going to be in amongst us. Oh, I missed the B-26s. Damn it. I'm pretty sure they didn't do any damage. Looks like one of them is trying to get out. Enemy fighters are now 90 miles out, but they are close to Yorktown. These are our raids about to pass them in the night or in the day, but expression anyway. I don't know who they attacked. Okay. Avengers are heading to the deck to engage. All right. All of the 26s are dead now. Kind of bummed I missed that raid. I'm a big B-26 fan. How are scrambles going? Oh, so some of them are airborne. I'd like you to fly out and get these guys, but I guess maybe until they're identified as hostile, you won't. All right, those guys are spotting. Yorktown's almost got all of its fighters spotted. Hornet's empty. And Enterprise is spotting. No, kamikaze mechanics are not part of the game. Actually, I had a during the demo, so this is a while ago. It's like a year ago when they were playing the sort of demo during the Kickstarter. I had a dive bomber. I've got a short of it on the channel still. I had a dive bomber like trying to make an attack on the enemy, and I think it got hit and damaged, and it fell and it hit the deck. But rather than explode, it just kind of like went boink and then bounced off and then crashed into the sea. So we'll just assume it was an armored flight deck and a dud for a bomb or something. I don't know. But all right, these guys are definitely diving to attack. We've already issued all the orders we can. Oh, there's the carrier. Are we gonna like turn and drop a torpedo on like an absurd angle? I hope they patch that, because usually the way, I don't know why we're diving like that close to the carrier unless we're going for maybe the carrier over here to the northeast. Usually, for whatever reason, the game decides you want to pass your target first and then turn back on them and drop. I don't know enough about torpedo doctrine in the era to know if that's what you're gonna do, but. Alright, so we got a flight of 3 Avengers. What are you doing? Oh, there's another carrier over here. I guess that's who we're dropping on. Hey, maybe try flying a little more straight and level. Really kicking that rudder over a lot and wobbling. All right, all right, all right. Lead plane just dropped. We just dropped. So 3 torpedoes are out. I'm going to assume we will not hit the enemy just because the Mark 13 sucks. And unless we had aircraft coming in from the other side, which I suppose is possible. Well, one of them ditched. I'm gonna guess these fish are gonna be avoided. Although I don't know why this guy trailing oil? Was he already damaged? Is there a chance the B-26 has damaged this guy? It looks like he's trailing oil. Doesn't look particularly low in the water. I don't see any signs of damage along this side of the hull. It does not look like he's moving very fast. I don't see any signs of damage on this side of the hull. But one of those fish might hit. Right on the bow, maybe? Right on the meatball? Oh no, was it a dud? Aww. Boom! One hit right on the meatball. Good job, Avengers. Hell yeah. There's no damage as far as I can tell. But it definitely was a hit. Oh, there's definitely damage below the waterline here. You can see the hole. I don't know that one torpedo will be enough to sink it. What about on the other side? Any sign? The lighting on this side is much harder to see. Her rudder, I don't know if, I assume the game has its props spin if it's working. She must have taken damage from the B-26s too. That's a lucky break. We didn't have any damage from the first time I played this. At the very least, a torpedo into her. She is very low in the water. I don't think she'll sink that fast, but she might be going under. I can't tell. I was fooled last time where the bow was real low and she kind of just stayed like that for the whole thing. She's not moving much at the very least. If this bow in front here dips below, I think she'll sink, but where are we at right now with incoming aircraft? All right, we got more aircraft coming this way. I don't know why my fighters... Why are these guys not... Are these guys engaging? Are they engaging my nav strike? No, not that one. Error. Something just exploded. Oh yeah, okay. So my Wildcats are engaging the enemy. So my escorts, I guess, are doing a good job. I mean, these guys are not the scramble, but they are. I mean, they're not fighting off the cap, which is unfortunate because it's like, well, then sending these guys out was pointless. But they might at least eat into the enemy fighter escorts on the raid that are coming toward my my planes and chew through them. Thank you for the follow, test person. You seem like a real live human being and not a bot. And Sky Glitcher. Hopefully the enemy escorts don't attack my own planes. All right. What about these guys? Where are they at? I don't have much faith in my marine dive bombers to hit a moving target, but oh, these are the returning aircraft. Okay, never mind. From Midway. Where are they shooting at? Do we have another raid inbound? All right, this is a different carrier. She's also making good speed. Oh, they're probably the 17s, right? There we go. Enemy carriers are below us. I want to look at the enemy. The problem is I can't actually tell. Oh, bomb bay doors open. Bombs away. All right, earlier flight missed by a mile. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll have celebratory beers and tell their tell the folks at the officers club that they smashed the Japanese carriers and sank them all. Those hit nothing. Okay. Where are the other carriers? I hate that I can't like spot what I'm looking where, like, where are the other carriers? She seems low in the water. I'm sure this is good television to definitely screws are moving on her though. So the other carrier is dead in the water, was dead in the water. She could just be low because she's turning hard. All right, where are we at for our scrambles? Are they flying out to go meet these guys yet? Why are they sticking on the carrier? I want you to go intercept the enemy fighters. I don't want you to stay close. So Yorktown's, the enemy is up here. We're down, we're further south, but I guess we're just about to engage the enemy with Yorktown's fighters. But if Yorktown's fighters are fighting by themselves, they're in trouble. There's the friendlies below me. Where are the enemy? Up ahead. No one's to the IP yet for my nav strike. The space bar, this view is kind of, I guess you can zoom out. Is anyone going to engage these guys? You're just going to, why are they still reported as unknown, by the way? Shouldn't they be red by now? Wouldn't it be kind of clear these guys are not friendlies? Those are the dive bombers. Like, where are you guys flying to and why? You're flying, well, no, you're flying toward the enemy. Okay, so these guys are going to come try and hit me. We'll take a look at that in a sec. All right, so tactical view, we've got Soryu, Akagi. Was Akagi the one we thought we hit? Or was that Hiryu, Kaga? Kaga seems to be, I think, the one who was damaged. She seems to be dead in the water. And settling. Her bow is real low. Did she repair her engines? Not by the looks of it. So she's badly damaged.
Romeo, many bandits. Vector.
No shit.
1-0. Very close. Very low.
Very close, very low. That's bad news, I would think. Presumably that means they are torpedo bombing. Already in, they got right past my scramble. The guys didn't even engage them. For fuck's sake. Yorktown's done. These torpedo bombers are heading for the deck. Oh, they already dropped. God. I got my fighters up and they didn't even get vectored in. Sorry, Yorktown. That's rough. Welcome to the 1942 US experience. I'm not worried about it being a single torpedo. I'm worried about, what, 30 or 40 torpedo bombers all dropping on me. These guys are like flying right over the flight deck. All right, these fish dropped from behind shouldn't hit. Unless we turn into them like a fool. Which, oh, well, there's one directly behind us. We might be screwed either way. We're trying to thread the needle. Oh, we got hit right on the props. That one might hit us coming in on the side. It's hard to tell. Another hit. That's 2 fish toward the stern.
Enemy bomber down in flames. Enemy torpedo plane on attack run to port. Closing in.
More? A 3rd torpedo. All we got to do is cut off the back of the ship and we're fine. Everything's been to the rear. Oh, by the way, I don't think the dive bombers have dropped yet either. Are those more coming in? Jesus Christ. Hey, we got one.
Enemy aircraft hit. He's going down.
There's another. There's 2. We're pretty low in the water back here. That does not look good. The name of the ship is almost submerged.
Enemy bomber down in flames.
A 4th torpedo hit, and there's a dive bomber bomb. A whole bunch of dive bomber bombs are straddling us. 3 hits, 4 hits. The game's getting a little laggy. It's like you're screwed is what it's like. God damn, another hit. Another hit. Are these Orlicons? Did they have Orlicons at this stage, or were they still using the 1.1 inch pieces of trash? So I don't think Yorktown's gonna make it, guys. Just guessing. But he's dead, Jim. He's dead. That's a lot of damage and real fast. Damage control on Yorktown. Propulsion gone. Steering almost gone. Jammed. Propulsion 0%. Steering is jammed. Fire is heavy. Damage is critical. Flooding is not light. Bullshit. You're in the process of sinking. She's going down, boys. That would have just flooded her flight deck. Hey, but don't worry, the ammo is good. Ah. Oh, man. All right, what are our aircraft doing? I don't want to miss Yorktown sinking. She's definitely going to sink, and fast. This would be a very deadly sinking because there is not, frankly, time for anyone to abandon ship when it, I mean, it's literally going to sink in like less than 5 minutes. Like, look at this. The flight deck is flooded. At least her radar got off. We'll have nowhere to land. I hope we at least shoot these guys up on the way out so they can't launch another effective strike. I suppose this is only half their air wing, too. There's Yorktown below her. I hope they name a destroyer after Fletcher. This might have been a more glorious way out for him if he didn't survive, you know. He kind of gets, Fletcher's kind of the black sheep or the forgotten figure in Midway. Spruance sort of overshadows him, and then he leads a lot of the carrier actions in the Solomons. You know, whether you agree with him or not, he was probably the most consequential carrier commander for the Americans. You know, early. It just went down in the war, I think. I don't know. You can disagree. I hope they all went for Yorktown and nobody broke in on. Doesn't look like anybody made it to the Task Force 16, so I think Task Force 16 is avoiding a scrutiny. The other dive bomber attack out of Midway appears to have gotten completely obliterated. Oh, wait, no, these are the Wildcats. What am I talking about? That's the scramble. Here's the nav strike. Are they heading home? I think they already dropped. No, they didn't. Are they still headed home? Did they not find the enemy? Oh, no, they're heading north. All right. My own dive bomber's getting close too. Did the Task Force 16 scrambles ever make it up there? They did. Okay. So their fighters. All right. So we ended up doing something. Now the downside is the enemy may launch a second strike against us. Although maybe their flight deck will be crammed with spotting aircraft. That could be nice. As our raid comes in. Yorktown is gone. I don't see her, so she appears to be sunk. She's back here. She's not below the waves, but she's going under, boys. Poor Yorktown. Going out with glory. Your ass will hit the bottom of the ocean floor first. Landing on your butt. Could be worse. I wonder what kind of structural strength, like, would you snap with the weight at this point? This feels like it more of a... There's a not physics. I don't think that ship would not have ripped in two by this point. Just 90-degree angle with half the ship still out of the water. Well, now you're just going to bob like a top. All right, well. Did they debrief already? You got to be shitting me. No, they're flying. Why does it say debriefing? These guys are literally in the midst of flying. I was going to be pissed. I was going to be like, what are you guys doing while my boys are dying? But no. You're going for the enemy aircraft. You're doing your duty. I should got pretty good visibility at this point. Cloud cover's not too bad. We're coming up on the enemy fleet for what it's worth. You can see they're up this a ways. We've got our flights coming in. Did the carrier that was damaged sink? I only see 3 on the board. She was low in the water. I'm going to go on the assumption that we sank her. Someone just gets shot down there. I only see 3 enemy ships, 3 enemy carriers. No, wait, maybe there's 2. Three. Large unidentified warship. Is this the dead in the water one? I really hope we don't spend all our bombs on the dead in the water enemy carrier. Oh, propellers are going. They repaired her propulsion, but this is the one we put the torpedo into. She's moving a little. I hope some of my planes don't attack her and that they work their way toward the Akagi and Soryu and Hiryu. Uh-oh. They're probably recovering aircraft now, right? All right, we got some nice flights coming in this way. Okay, we're shooting up these. I think we're shooting up this force here pretty good. Where? I'm confused. Do we lose the Yorktown's aircraft? Like, there should still be here, right? Do they still? I'm assuming they still are here. I'm assuming they still exist. I hear them. I just can't. They're not in the air contacts here with the carrier sunk, which is strange. TF-17 search planes. Well, I guess because the cruisers are still exist. But I can't. I'm assuming they'll still bomb. I guess we'll find out. Where's the damaged ship? Is she further back? Yeah, okay. So actually our planes will hit the undamaged ships first. So they should hit the guys who aren't hurt yet. What are you talking about, Printer Inc? We've lost Yorktown sunk. We badly damaged Kaga. And we now have our Midway bombers coming in, our Midway dive bombers coming in simultaneously to the first of 3 carrier air wings toward the carrier group. These are the Marines over here. Probably going to line up against Akagi. We had a attack of 80 aircraft hit our carrier shortly after they got their raids off. All of the enemy aircraft focused in on Yorktown. Yorktown took 4 or 5 torpedoes, at least half a dozen bombs, and she sank very rapidly. We're diving on something. This is a very shallow dive. I don't know if that's why the Marines suck in this game, but this seems like a very shallow dive for a dive bomber. Are you really lining up? You're not lining up on that battleship. No, you're way too high still. Carrier in the clouds. Still, that's a very shallow bomb. One of them took some flak and is burning. Maybe that's why they're less accurate. Bombs way short, nowhere close. One bomb kind of sort of close from the first group of planes that went in. These are going to be long. You got to be dropping now on this thing. Either you need a steeper angle or you need to have dropped a few seconds ago. These will all go long. Oh my God, they got 2 hits, 3 hits. I was just lambasting the Marines for sucking. I think only one of those was a 1,000-pounder. I think some of those were 100-pounders because only one real fire burning, but I am stunned they got a hit. This is very ahistorical this time around. Also, they're trying to drop on this other carrier, so it looks like they split their targets, I think. Or were those the Yorktown aircraft? Did they get there already? I think these are the Yorktowns. Strike. No hits here, it doesn't look like. I can't, the problem is I can't follow the Yorktown raids because Yorktown was sunk. So one really big fire, 1,000-pounder. I assume a flight deck may be out of action too, so that may cause some ditching to occur. Are there torpedo bombers down here? Yeah, so it looks like she took what I'm assuming are 100-pounders here and here, and then the 1,000-pounder where the fire's going. I think more dive bombers are dropping. These might be Yorktown. Maybe another squadron from Yorktown hitting. Another hit just off the stern of the ship. Another 1,000-pounder, a big boom. Another hit near the meatball. That's 3,000-pounders into... Is this Akagi? There's also a torpedo here heading way ahead of her. Well, maybe actually it'll hit her. I think it went under her. Looks like it went under. Yeah. Another one. No, that's just a flak tracer. Okay, well, certainly at least 2 enemy carriers are badly damaged. I think one of them may still have an active flight deck because the deck wasn't hit. It was a torpedo below deck, but at least one of the enemy carriers' flight decks is out of action, and there appears to be a major fire on our interior. This one is a Kagi. Kagas, who was crippled by the torpedo earlier. We've got our other two carriers inbound. There's more aircraft here. I don't know who. I'm guessing that's the Marines on their way back home. All right, so one torpedo or one bomb hit here. So both of these aircraft carriers have bomb hits. So actually two flight decks down, probably, at least for the moment. So that would kind of even the odds at 3-3, although if these guys can't land, they may lose 40 aircraft because they can't land. More bomb hits. Right amidships. 2 bomb hits. 3 bomb hits. Are we still not in? So this is for... Have we really not, like, I don't know who's getting all these hits. Because these guys haven't dropped yet. We had 30 coming in from Midway, and then we had the... It seems like the Yorktown's airstrike really got its revenge. Enterprise and Hornet haven't hit yet, I don't think. Unless it's one of the other flights that may be further ahead. No, it doesn't look like any of these guys have hit yet. Believe me, I am not complaining. The Marines really added a punch between the Avenger getting a torpedo hit, the Marine dive bombers getting at least 1, maybe 2 hits, and then Yorktown doing its thing, even though it was already dead. I mean, Akagi is probably not... I don't know if she'll sink, but she's certainly in trouble. Soryu and Hiryu are sort of probably the ones that are going to get attacked. Kaga's in the rear, a little bit more safe, although she took a torpedo already, and Akagi's getting hit hard. All right, I think we're going to focus in on the Soryu is my guess. Maybe some flights will peel off and go for the Hiryu. So the enemy may not get another strike off if we do real damage here. Doesn't seem to be much cap left either. Galawar, an evil commie dictator, thank you for the follows. Audio, thank you for the sub. I know I'm 20 minutes late on that. Monolith, thank you for the sub also. That was an hour ago. Okay. So this should be the lead flight. We should be... I don't know who you're trying to torpedo right now, but... What are you dropping on? Those are prayers. All right, you've got a better chance of hitting something at this range. This seems like maybe too far. You're leading too much if this is your target right here. I don't know what you're dropping on. Those are very, very advanced. You're way out ahead. All right, here we go. This carrier does not look damaged. Boom, one hit. Oh God. That was a horrible camera angle. I couldn't see anything once the plane pulled up. So they were starting to spot. Our forces seem to have disengaged. So we've definitely crippled the enemy at this point. I think that means the enemy is withdrawing. So their carrier's getting straddled. Whole bunch of bombs all over. I wonder if she took a torpedo hit or if she's just maneuvering. She's low in the water. All right, we still got another carrier worth. This guy's ablaze. Ablaze and low in the water. Probably not sinking quite yet, but so 2 carriers ablaze, 3 carriers ablaze. 3 carriers currently have fires, and one of them previously took a torpedo hit. This guy is really low in the water, listing pretty badly. Look at all the red paint you can see there exposed. See all the flak ahead of us. That's where we're headed, boys. All right, that nav strike's done. You guys still are high up. This flight's coming in a little bit further back. All right, the enemy's kind of fragmenting too. They've got, see the 3 carriers here and then the Kaga, which is back here, which was badly damaged, but still floating. And also now underway. She took a torpedo forward and her, I can't go below the water. Yeah, her rudders are not her rudders. Her propellers are running again. One more carrier to go. And then obviously we'll have to do some restrikes. So we did lose the Yorktown. It's historical. A little bit of a different sort of pattern to this engagement. Probably another minute or two before anything shows up. Shit, did ads just trigger? What the fuck? Well, I just won't accelerate time. We're not diving yet. It should only be 30 seconds if Google or if Twitch decided to throw them in there. I don't usually run auto ads. I don't really know what happened. It just says ads are running. That's weird. I typically don't run mid-roll unless I step away from the PC. Yorktown is gone. Are you sure, Turbo? Yes, we're sure. Alright, planes are turning. They're turning in for the attack. Absolute chaos in the formation. We saw her go under. Unless somehow a ship could become a top. Like a bobber in the ocean and not go under. I may have, now that I have a beer in my hand, I think I might have bumped my Elgato. And that maybe, I don't usually run ads mid-stream, so I apologize for that. But I may have accidentally bumped it with my, thankfully it didn't cut the stream off. That would have been bad. I hit the wrong button. I'm drinking a non-alcoholic Heineken. Not bad for an NA beer. Yorktown didn't sink. She's just below the water. What are we all flying toward anyway? I don't even see anything. All right. So it looks like we're probably going to go for Soryu would be my guess. That seems to be the direction we're angling toward. I suppose we could go for... No, we're not going to go for Tone. We're not going to go for a cruiser. Akagi's back here too, but... What are we flying toward? All right. Looks like we may be making a turn in. Hiryu's over here. Maybe we're angling in toward Hiryu. Or, oh, that's Congo. Why is the battleship got the flat top symbol? Or does that just mean a capital ship? I don't know. Were we maybe buying time for the torpedo bombers to get low? That would seem to be the case. Be cool if we could get a torpedo hit. I don't know if she's maybe not moving very much. It seems like we're pretty much lined up straight on her. We got torpedo bombers on each side. They're dropping. We're dropping. The problem is the torpedoes are so slow. I don't really want to miss the dive bomber attack because of the torpedoes, but I would like to see if any torpedoes hit home. We'll wait to see if any of these guys switch over to bombing on the attack. Here comes one of the fish. We may miss the dive bombers, but hopefully we see an explosion of midships. No! A dud. Well, that's lame. Yeah. Maybe the Yorktown is like that South Park skit, or like the Black Knight, you know. It's just a flesh wound. You're on the bottom of the ocean. This guy doesn't have any fires going. There's 2 carriers here with no fires. You can see the difference, but by the way, the Marines were much more of a glide bomb. This is a dive bomb. You can see we're coming in real angled over. This deck is already pockmarked with shell craters or bomb craters. Not much room to miss right to left, but she's a long target. Get some hits, boys. Ugh. Come on. There we go. One amidships right there. Good hit. Good hit. Right on the meatball, or well, I guess there's no meatball on this one, but right on the circle where the meatball would be. So 2 good bomb. Well, only no fires though? What's up with that? Oh, there's a fire kicking off. Two good fires. Maybe they took a little while to get going. Ring round the rosy. Ah. Certainly good cinema if you're better with camera work than I am. Someone was complaining on YouTube the other day. It's like your camera work is giving me motion sickness. Yes. Yes, it is not the best. You are low in the water, sir. Look at the front of that ship. You got it. There's definitely a hole in near the bow. Which one is this? Hear you? Where are the other? All right, these guys are about to bomb. They're gonna bomb Akagi. Let's see, the first flight of them are going down through the clouds. We'll see how they do as we go in. The CGI is as good as the Midway ones. It was the Midway movie? Which Midway movie? 1970 when they had stock footage of Iowas firing broadsides during the Japanese air attacks, or the 2019 one or whatever when they were, you know, not very good. I mean, whatever. I like the 1971. I'm a sucker for anything war related with Henry Fonda in it. He plays Nimitz in 2 movies, actually. Technically just Sync Pack 2 in Harm's Way, but he is Midway in both, or he's Nimitz in both of those movies. Okay. Couple more hits. I think she is a goner, I would think. I don't know. What do I know? I'm always wrong. She's certainly dead in the water. May have to launch a second strike. We've already won. I don't think the enemy's getting another air attack off any of these decks. Maybe Kaga? She's the only one I didn't see any craters in yet. The 2019 one. What actions? Well, isn't there one where, like, did a guy really... I know he's based on a historical figure, but are you talking about the guy who, like, runs into the cockpit of the plane on the deck and shoots down an enemy aircraft? There's something crazy happens. All right, are your rudders going? Or not rudders. You're dead in the water. Looks like there's 2 waterline hits in the rear of the ship. And then there's another, I don't think these are all torpedoes, but there's another below the waterline on the other side. So 3 below waterline hits. Fire is burning out of control. You better sink, you bastard. Why is my mouse not showing up here? Oh, because I was in. All right, so Akagi's in trouble. I think Hiryu's in trouble too. Oh yeah. Look at how low this guy is in the water. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I thought one of the ships was sinking in my last video. Barricades are up. I don't know if they're trying to retrieve aircraft right now. Don't know how you'd land through that maelstrom. The 7 Yamatos fly with the fleet. Hey Hauser, if you're still in the chat, anyone know how many Japanese airmen were rescued? I think Midway is often portrayed as like, and the pride of the Japanese air arm was destroyed, but like, how many of the actual crews survived? Someone's ingressing. The music just changed. That happens when attacks are underway. Not these guys. Not sure. Alright, Akagi's burning. Here are you. Kaga. How is Kaga doing? Are they taking off aircraft maybe? She's the only one who doesn't have a crater in her flight deck, so maybe she could launch something. She's low in the water. She took a torpedo hit, but I think the flooding is under control. The other guys' carrier decks are all pockmarked to hell. But did the aircraft that returned after ditching have to like... Did their crews get largely picked up? I don't know if speed is relevant. Like, in theory, the game says, oh, you have to turn into the wind. But I don't actually know how much that matters. Stories engaging enemy aircraft. Okay. I think that's just like a snooper maybe, but they spotted TF-17. Or 16? It says TF-17. TF-17's already been hit. Gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't really worried about the crew. I was more just curious about the airmen. Has anyone ever looked, maybe Shadow Sword mentions it, I don't know, but has anybody looked into like personnel losses amongst the actual pilots? I'm guessing they have. Feels like something you would do. All right, so there's no air raids right now. Our planes are returning to base. It's going to be a little while before we can launch another strike, so I just think we'll focus in on the enemy ships and see if any of them sink. These guys are still burning. Story: enemy air attack over. What attacked us? Doesn't look like you took any damage. Enterprise and Hornet are already retrieving their scrambles. It'd be nice if some of them could return to... Some of the fighters from Yorktown could return to Enterprise or Hornet. I don't know if they allow you to divert if your aircraft is damaged. Obviously, I don't think we lost too many aircraft in those raids. I don't know how much actual space we would have on the ship. Nobody lost in the first squadron. Not a single plane lost in the first squadron. Not a single plane lost in the second squadron. Jesus. All right, we lost one torpedo bomber in the first raid. So in theory you could fit one. I think our fighters lost. Nobody in that one. Oh, I think the fighters on Yorktown lost the brunt, took the brunt of the damage. Christ. I mean, yes, we lost a carrier worth of aviation. That's rough, but that entire raid, we lost like one plane in the actual attacking force. How does it say 48 aircraft and this one says 57? What was the difference? They had to have lost 9 or so aircraft. Well, Flaherty was shot down, so that's 1 in the second. 2 fighters in that other raid, 3 fighters, 3 fighters. Okay, so the fighter aircraft in this second raid lost heavily. 8 fighters lost, 9 fighters lost. So in theory, there'd be room for a portion of Yorktown's air group. 1943 content, Adam, I assume would be volume 2. Volume 1 is 42. And they've labeled it as volume 1. Here's the question. Do our torpedo bombers actually have enough fuel to get back to base and land? Let's hope so. Otherwise, we might have a lot more empty berths. They even know where to go? I would assume it's years. Even if they don't change core gameplay mechanics, they've got 26 scenarios to work through in the base game. My fleet is much further south now because of all the time spent taking off. Oh. Hope these guys make it back to base. Be low on fuel. No, I've always heard the Solomon, and they also, like, the Japanese put a bunch of their naval aviation ashore for the Solomon's campaigns, which was not helpful. Okay. Are any of these guys gonna make it to the frickin' base? I hope you make it back to base. I hope you do as well. But if you don't, I don't know. It's really a shame. Are they diverting south at least? It would appear so. I don't know if you have enough fuel to get there. I guess we'll find out. I also don't really know if fuel running out is... I've heard it is. Fuel running out is a thing, because someone was posting in the YouTube comments about how their recon flights regularly ran out of fuel, which I have not seen as an issue. I feel like usually it protects me against that with its radius. But they were acting like if you don't manually adjust the flights, they all crashed. I have not seen. Not saying it hasn't happened. Certainly could be a bug, but I haven't seen it. All right, Devastators, go land. So Yorktown selected down there. There's the carriers. So go get in the pattern. Get your ass on deck. Are you gonna land? Nope. I mean, some folks are landing. I don't know who. I think, yeah, this guy's gonna land. Yay! We made it back. I don't know. I'm assuming aircraft fuel is individually monitored if it was saying that you're out of fuel at a certain time. In any event. It's also possible we would just have a lot more fuel because the carrier has been heading further west basically consistently for the last hour plus. I guess it'd be easy to tell if any of Yorktown's planes make it back, because originally the two carriers in Task Force 16 had 145 aircraft, I believe it was. Thank you for the follow, Clee. And if that number changed or went up, that would indicate a change there. So fleet information, Task Force 16, 133 aircraft. So far we're down 12. No aircraft in TF-17. What does transfer mean? Is it like transfer your flag? Could we move these guys under TF-16? Is that something we could do? Maybe. I think you can issue task force orders. But in any event. All right. So TF-16... 133 planes left, 66 dive bombers, 42 fighters. Midway's receiving its planes back too. Let's go to the... Can we see missions here? All right, so we debrief here. 2 fighters, 34 dive bombers, 12 torpedo bombers. Mission log. 18 SBDs launched, 8 are okay, 1 damaged, 9 MIA. I suppose maybe they're still... Which carrier was this from? This from Hornet. Spotting, arming, 4% fuel reserve. General info. All right, what about action reports? Enemy air activity, 46 A6M20s. That's a lot. 73. This, okay, so these must have been the returning aircraft from the Midway strike that they spotted. We didn't engage them. We spotted 2 battleships, 4 carriers, 2 heavy cruisers, 1 light cruiser, 11 destroyers. We damaged a battleship with 8 bombs and 1 torpedo. That seems a little excessive. And damaged another with 9 bombs. We expended 23 Mark 13 1,000-pound bombs, 11 Mark 13 torpedoes, 46 Mark 400-pound bombs. We didn't fire off any 50 cal ammo. That's for the Hornet. Then we go to the Enterprise. And we had... There are not this many MIAs. Maybe it just means some of these guys haven't returned yet. But 2 KIAs. 3 damaged, 8 damaged. I don't know if that prevents them from flying again. But we destroyed 10 A6M20s in this flight of the enemy planes we spotted. 1 carrier damaged with 5 bombs, 1 carrier damaged with 8 bombs. Somehow we shot these enemy aircraft down without firing any 50 cal ammo. No report from Yorktown because her carrier group, I guess, is just missing. You can also click on units here and see like their actual crest, their number of sorties, their bomb hit claims, aircraft loss, etc. Okay. So, I believe we're still recovering aircraft from the strike. But looks like maybe Hornet is done recovering. Okay. Tailgun's 30 cal, not sure. But I would assume we didn't shoot 10 zeros down with tailguns. Could be wrong, I suppose. All right. Do we have any visual on the enemy carriers? Or are they... I don't know that we have any scouts still there. So they appear to have broken up into two different groups. Or maybe not. I don't see any ships. Could they be off to the north here? All right, we got two ships over here. Those are destroyers. We've got which one is this? Kagi or Kaga? Suppose they could be launching a flight against us. I think those are combat air patrol, maybe. I don't know what they have left that would have air group. Oh, this is the one we damaged early. We also don't have any. We need more scouts. I assume more PBYs will fly in the afternoon. But does this group have any air search? Seaplanes? No, can't do that. All right. Well, these guys didn't launch their seaplanes. Okay. I don't know how long they take to get their seaplanes ready. Any of the original socks get recovered? I think so. None there. None there. Maybe not. Maybe the original socks all got shot down. All right, so our socks are on the way out. At least the ones I flew. I didn't fly every single one in this task force. So they'll head out to give me a better picture of what the situation looks like. Meanwhile, I should probably start planning for another strike here. You can order the screen to move around where the ships go. You can split task forces off. I don't think I can do it on this screen, but you can split task forces off, or at least I did at Coral Sea. With that being said, I am going to go ahead and save here. And it is I do have to work tomorrow, believe it or not. And it's already 2:00 my time, so I'm going to have to get to bed. But I do appreciate you guys coming out for yet another episode of Task Force Admiral. I hope you guys are enjoying these streams. We will finish this up probably tomorrow night, and we'll go from there. But that's going to do it for tonight. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I am going to run ads as I leave, just because why the hell not? Just to appease the gods. There's nothing else that you guys are going to miss out on. So thanks again for coming out, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out. Bye-bye.